Okay, this one's going to be a little bit different, and this is actually some breaking news. For those of you who've been a fan of Jurassic Park, like the original movie and the book, um, we brought back a prehistoric animal, or at least technically a prehistoric animal, a dire wolf. I know. So for all you Game of Thrones fans, we got dire wolves before George R. R. Martin finished Winds of Winter. We got dire wolves before Grand Theft Auto 6. We got dire wolves before we landed on Mars. We got dire wolves before, I guess, world peace. I don't know. I mean, hey, uh, type your thoughts. I mean, hell, we got dire wolves sweeping. Do we though? So this is from Colossal Biosciences. Now, I'm 50-50 on this in regards to bringing back extinct animals. I mean, on the one hand, I see the good, but I see the potential harm in it too. So let me know your thoughts on this. I'm pretty sure a lot of us are excited about the return of, I guess, an extinct animal. So let's go and let's find out in a 3, 2, and an uno. Let's get to it.
About the climate crisis, but we are actually in a biodiversity crisis, and that's absolutely critical to our way of life. So if all of these species go extinct, then we'll have full ecosystem collapse.
Some scientists have estimated that by 2050, half of all species that are alive today will be extinct. The truth is that extinction happens. Extinctions have happened throughout evolutionary history. But right now, the rate of extinction is estimated to be 1,000 to 10,000 times faster than the base rate in the fossil record. And a lot of that is our fault. We need a solution.
Colossal is the world's first de-extinction company, and we combine de-extinction with species preservation, and our goal is to make extinction a thing of the past.
Colossal
Biosciences
develops cutting-edge technology to protect biodiversity and reverse early childhood extinction.
People think it's a scary word, de-extinction. They immediately put us with Jurassic Park, and it's not. We're trying to develop these new techniques in order to save animals, in order to bring back animals that...
Now, hold on. I'm going to let you all in a little Wikipedia fact. I actually used to study dinosaurs a long time ago when I was a kid. I wanted to be a paleontologist. Yeah, I know. Former Marine, wanted to study dinosaurs. But dreams die hard in your hands. I tried to get a scholarship, but couldn't, so joined the Marine Corps instead. But before then, I actually had the privilege of being on not one, but 3 different dinosaur expeditions, 2 to Montana and 1 to South Dakota. Simpler times, better times, happier times. But I would say, as a kid and as a teenager, I would always wonder, like, hey, what would happen if we did achieve the unthinkable, and that is bring back prehistoric animals? What wonders could we learn? How would this be done? And, well, how much further can we go, and the good that we could do for our planet? Because as it stands, we are in the process of getting into a 6th mass extinction. That's not good. We start losing some of our favorite little critters here. That could also put us on the chopping block.
In some cases, we're our fault that we don't have them any longer. It wasn't a climate problem, it was a human problem.
I think we all share the deep concern about what's happening to biodiversity, what's happening to the planet, what's happening to people whose lives have been intertwined with wild nature since before time began. And so coming together is so exciting because I think that's how we can really drive change.
We're finding solutions to restore a species back to the wild. The purpose of that is to serve an ecological function. As we lose species within an ecosystem, if you think of a Jenga puzzle, you're sort of pulling blocks out of there. Those blocks that are creating the instability in the ecosystem is literally the function that animal plays. If we can find ways to restore animals that provide that specific function, we can create more stability within an ecosystem.
We've announced 3 species, the woolly mammoth, the thylacine, and the dodo. But one of the things that's absolutely critical to ecosystems is predators, as we've seen with what's happened in Yellowstone with the reintroduction of wolves back into the park. They've shown that they've even reshaped the river systems. They brought back beavers, they brought back songbirds. And so we felt that it was very important for us to bring back the dire wolf.
Dire wolf.
The dire wolf is the first species that we're bringing back at Colossal.
Winter is coming.
The dire wolf, which most people think is just a mythical creature, was actually a keystone species that was not only endemic to the United States and mostly Americas, but it was actually culturally important to some of the biggest indigenous early tribes in America. So we thought if we could use it as an opportunity where we can also develop technologies that can help wolves, we thought it was the right first project given how important wolves are to ecosystems.
One of the challenges when we started working on the direwolf was that we knew of only 2 direwolf specimens in the world that contained some usable DNA. One of our direwolf samples was a single tooth, and then another was a 72,000-year-old skull. So we were able to use these specimens and isolate this ancient DNA out of them.
For the dire wolf, there was a massive study that did many samples across multiple institutions, and Colossal took 2 of those samples and was able to generate whole genome sequences from each. And so this is incredible for any species, let alone species that have been extinct. So what you can do is you can map that to its closest living relative. So at Colossal, we're using the gray wolf, and we've been able to generate such a high quality genome.
Okay, so I think what they're trying to do is gene sequence or reverse the gene sequence of the gray wolf to be similar to the dire wolf. Makes sense, I think.
That we can
Makes
map
sense.
back to create our own dire wolf reference genome.
When we edit different lines of genetically diverse gray wolves, we'll create a set of genetically diverse dire wolves with similar edits, but the basis of their diversity already existed within the gray wolf.
Gray wolves are on the endangered species list, and that means you can't just go in and collect the samples that we want.
Typically, people have to take a ear punch or a skin biopsy, and sometimes it's a very invasive process for the animal. We've developed a technology where you can take a simple blood draw, isolate these specific cells in the blood, and then clone from it.
We're changing the genome of this living animal partially into the genome of the extinct animal for those genes that matter, for the traits and characteristics that we want to see in that animal.
Discovering which parts of the genome make an animal look and act like that animal is one of the hardest problems in biology. It is unsolved and something that we have to solve if we want to know which parts of the genome we want to edit to make a gray wolf more like a dire wolf.
To analyze
Man, if my younger version saw this, oh man, I'd be jumping up for joy.
our genomes to compare direwolves with gray wolf genomes.
But I'm old enough to greatly appreciate this now, too. I know times seem pretty tough. I know we're in some very scary times here, folks. Very traumatizing times, and each of us are dealing with our own fair share of burdens. But don't give up. There's hope.
Genomes, we use our tools on a platform built by FormBio. It's a bioinformatics company that spun out of Colossal. They built this whole suite of analysis tools and algorithms that allow us to find the differences between the direwolf genome and the gray wolf genome and filter out these differences that we actually want to edit. And so we aligned our direwolf reads to the gray wolf genome. That allowed us to know exactly where the gray wolf differed from the direwolf. One of the most exciting differences that we found in the direwolf genome is that there is a change in the L-coral gene. And L-coral is a key regulator of animal size.
Next, we have to use gene editing technologies. We have cells growing in a dish in a lab that belong to a gray wolf. And so these have gray wolf genomes. Now we've decided which part of that genome we want to change. So one at a time, we take our gene editing tools and we go into that cell and we cut out the bit of DNA that looks like a gray wolf and paste in its place the DNA that looks like a dire wolf.
Each time you edit the gene in a cell, you put a lot of stress on that cell because you have to get your gene editing tools in these cells and then these changes are made. So what we do instead is we try to make dozens or hundreds of changes at once. It's called multiplex gene editing.
So now we have cells growing in a dish in a lab that have DNA that makes them a little bit more dire wolf-like than gray wolf-like. We have to transform these living cells into actual pups. And for that, we use a process called cloning, or somatic cell nuclear transfer. This is the same process that most famously brought us Dolly the sheep.
I remember that, 1996, Dolly sheep clone. Wow. Boy, does time go by fast.
You take an egg, an oocyte, from a wolf or a dog, you take out its own DNA and you stick that direwolf cell in it.
Oh.
That cell becomes an embryo that's a dire wolf. It's no longer a domestic dog, which sounds totally science fiction. And with the help of a vet team, we then are able to surgically put this embryo back inside to the surrogate dog.
We have to find an appropriate dog that can carry our dire wolf.
Everyone is thinking very critically about each step so that when that pup is finally born, we know there aren't any issues.
The safety of all of our surrogates for any of our species is the highest priority. We have an overemphasis on our animal husbandry team to secure their safety, as well as are pursuing on the science side our own exogenous development team so that one day we won't have to use surrogates.
Okay.
The most exciting part is when the vet team comes in, they do their ultrasound and they say, yeah, congrats, you're gonna be a puppy mom, or
Why am I tearing up? Oh, don't worry. I'm dealing with a lot of stuff, but things are getting better. But nothing like new life.
or, you're gonna have a cub on the ground in a couple weeks. After the pups are delivered, there's a care team in place. They're there to make sure that our direwolf pups are happy and healthy and that mom has gone through delivery without any problems. And then we have another team that will ensure that our pups have the right dynamics. They have the right social structures.
We're working actively right now with partners today to make sure that there are solutions and places for these animals to go in the future. And it's really important to say that all of this is done in this massive network.
It's critical to work with private landowners, local governments, indigenous people groups, and the public at large to do that in a way that's safe and publicly accepted, but also it's good for the ecosystem and the animals themselves.
What we're doing is having all of this collaboration in place well before we have these animals, and this is absolutely critical to making this work successful.
We're a part of the evolutionary stream of the planet. We're kin to every other species out there. And so because we have the ability to shape the world, I think we have a responsibility to correct our mistakes from the past.
What we do today is, I think, what the hope for the future is for biodiversity and for nature. And so to be on sort of the ground floor of creating a tool that will be the solution for our biodiversity crisis is the most motivating thought that I could ever have.
What we're doing at Colossal has never been done before.
I hope everyone around the world is leveraging the technologies that we develop here, and I hope that biodiversity loss and extinction is just a thing of the past.
The idea of being able to have direwolves again is tremendously, personally exciting. And I think it's going to be exciting to a lot of people.
The first time I see a direwolf, oh my God.
Direwolf's a big, fluffy dog that I probably wouldn't pet.
I think it's going to be amazing in a lot of ways.
I'm really excited to see the birth of this direwolf pup and all the hard work that all of the teams have contributed to. There's so many people that have had their hand in this that it's just fulfilling for us to see, okay, we did it. We produced something that is magnificent and science fiction at its finest.
Romulus and Remus are the first two dire wolves to howl over 10,000 years. Holy shit. Hey, true Romans. They're back. All right. I'm sorry, I'm watching that again. Ugh. I'm watching that again. Expected to get to me like that. All right. Ooh. I'm not crying, you're crying. That really got to me. I think about my grandpa who would have really liked to have seen something like that. I do have my thoughts on this though. All right. I'm reminded of the quote from Jurassic Park from Ian Malcolm. Your scientists thought so much if we could, then think if they should. You know, this is a Pandora's box in regards towards what we're doing, and I see the good and maybe the potential harm. Now that this engineering company has successfully brought back a dire wolf species from extinction, this could probably motivate people to preserve the key animals and plants that, well, help our world survive. We're all interconnected. We all breathe the same air. We all share the same planet. And that includes all the other creatures. You know, we're not the owners of this world, but we are custodians. And it is our social responsibility to ensure that all life is able to survive and thrive. And there's a lot of damages that humans have done. I know that I remember from the first conversation in Jurassic Park before they went on the tour, you know, one of the Alan Grant and I believe his wife saying to John Hammond, you know, dinosaurs, they had their chance. And an argument can be made that direwolves, they had their chance. If you don't adapt to a changing environment, you face extinction. But then I do look at the good. I mean, again, you know, it's 50-50. Right? I will give the respect to this team for the work, the back-breaking work, the hours of failure and hours of success that they had to put into to make this colossal scientific achievement. I am humbled and so happy to see this. Now, before anyone writes in the comments section, when are we getting T-Rex? Please don't ask for that, okay? I mean, do we really want Tyrannosaurus Rex walking around here? Yeah, probably. But how funny is it that they're both named Romulus and Remus? True Roman wolves for true Romans to tell the tale of a dream called Rome. Let's hold on. Let's read some of the comments here. Honey, wake up. A new species just dropped. Oh, wow. Let's see. One person wrote, as a biologist, I'm very interested in technology and the potential, especially for restoring extinct animals. But I urge caution with dire wolves, specifically. Dire wolves exploited a very similar niche to modern gray wolves, which may be one of their closest relatives, but are still completely genus, and some other canines may be closer. If released into wild, they could compete with existing gray wolf populations, putting more pressure on an already threatened species. I understand why dire wolves made an attractive proof of concept. They're very charismatic and in the right place, a keystone species. But if the goal is, if release is the goal, please be very careful where and when they're introduced into the wild. I'd personally love to see this technology eventually used to bring back a number of more recently extinct species like the passenger pigeon. I know they're less charismatic, but they were hugely important to the North American ecosystem before they were hunted to extinction. We have a huge number of specimens in museums for study, many of which are well preserved. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Oh, wow. Hold on. Colossal Biosciences said, we're not rewilding them. It's about taking on an impossible challenge and learning along the way. Not only does this project benefit critically endangered wolves, it helped us innovate a new method of non-invasive cloning. Okay, great. Somebody wrote, armchair scientists don't dictate to mad scientists. Come on, guys, be nice. One person wrote, I'm stunned. This is history you're making right here. I'm a master's study in biotech, and you've just stoked the flames of passion in me for the subject. Please keep up the good work. Wow, great. This is absolutely wonderful. Wow. Millions of science lovers died and weren't able to see this, and we are the ones still alive to witness it. It will take time to understand how big this is. There's a lot of people who would love to see this. There's a lot of people who would be happy to see this. What are your thoughts? Are we opening up Pandora's box? Are we crossing a Rubicon into dangerous territory? Or is there potential good here? Now, I understand for a lot of you, this might be a sensitive or very heavy topic issue. So in the comments section, let's please be respectful to each other's opinions. Let's try and understand one another. And to hell with it. One more time. One more time for the people in back. Just one more time. Welcome back, boys. Welcome back. One last message. For our friends and family members who are not here to see this, who we held their hands when we saw Jurassic Park or we saw some movie or TV show set in the prehistoric past, in awe of these giant animals, these magnificent beasts, to the documentary series that we all saw that we were kids, and to the people who aren't here with us, we're here now to see it for them. There's still hope. I know there's a couple people I wish who were here with me right now to see this. But I am so honored that we could share it together. Remember this moment. Romulus and Remus are back. True Roman wolves for true Romans. Take good care of yourselves out there, folks.